Silvio, do you remember when fireworks in Kentucky, gentlemen? We're coming home again, feel alone again. And that's right, from the shitty with the big city, it's MSG, the Chris Silvio, the chairman of Sexy Town. And that's right, I'm cashing in a big $5 million payoff, and I'm ready to hack and attack on this episode of Light the Fuse, Infidels. Yalla. Yeah, man. Wow. 2 weeks in a row with some bangers. I mean, setting off big demo, some Vegas level. We're going to take down this old casino and put up some new bright, shiny shit, man. What absolute giveaway this week's AEW Dynamite was. And I'm looking forward to talking all about it with these guys. And man, there's a couple spots in the middle and some things that could be rebooked. But I mean, if you're a first timer, you're probably going to like this show fully. And if you're a diehard AEW fan, a lot of guys got made in singles and tag team competition, which is a thing they usually have problems with. So I was glad to see him maybe turning a corner here. Let's hope we can keep that momentum. But the momentum shifter himself, the guy who's going to fire up and hit you with everything after you get some good heat on him, it's the Chris Silvio. Hey, buddy, good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend, and glad to see you're still a free man, at least for now. We're back again on Light the Fuse podcast here. And I believe this is the first time in show history where Matthew and myself have both worn backwards hats. And we shall now review AEW Dynamite. Matthew, how the fuck are you?
I'm doing great. I just figured, this hat actually does curve the correct way. I just want for the record. It wasn't like a turnaround. It's an AJ Styles hat. That's more or less free mind. But we're back, guys. I'm your host on the scene where the air is clean. I'm lighting up that green. Yeah, boy, MSG. Yeah, I'm doing great, dude. Back for another edition of Light the Fuse, About to break it all down. Some high numbers, back-to-back weeks. Banger of a show. I watched the show at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it kept my attention all the way until 5. So I didn't fall asleep. That's how good of a show I thought this was.
Excellent, man. That's great. Speaking of Kentucky gentlemen, Garback Sads, our own Greg Mosier, first to the chat room here, Ben Hamin channel. Actually, he's on twitch.tv/Hamin Media. So Mo's, a lot of people usually log on through YouTube if you want to join the chat that way, or if you want to just hang out over here. If you like Twitch better, as we're back on there for the SmackDown Live self-help groups and all that kind of stuff, man, as we double broadcast before we make the final move to Realm Network probably in June here, as a lot of work needs to get set up, and we have to learn the back-end process so we can make sure everything running smoothly with Russo Brand and HMG. And for the future expansion, which I know, Maddie, you're in on the Ultra Kayfabe of it, but holy shit, that list I got the other day is just like...
Yeah, I mean, that's right. The most important thing, though, is, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the Realm Network.
Check my bass, check my
Yeah, dude.
South Park Review. Yes.
Yeah, dude. And it may even be in the comedy tract as we develop that outside of just HMG. So a lot going on, man. It's tough to split my brain into these chapters, but I'm thankful for all of the co-hosts and producers we have on all sides and new partnerships. And as I recruit even more to try and get a collaborative effort going on, man. But I was enjoying some great sexy Silvio pictures with the lovely Genocide this week in the Psy Dojo. One of my favorite little moments from this week's AEW Dynamite was Seidel coming in to plant his flag and fucking step on the toes of the veteran Christian Cage. Not that Seidel's not a veteran. I'm not trying to say he's a rookie by any means, but I thought that was a very interesting. Now that's a piece of business. When I say we don't do business, that's setting up business right there and furthering it. So I like that a little bit there. But how are things at the Psy Dojo, bro?
Going great, man. And yeah, I like that too, how they touched on, the infamous debut Matt made at last year's Double or Nothing. He's come a long way since then, and he's gotten back on track and better than ever. But no, it's been great, man. I got a crew of studs over here. I heard you shout out our boy Greg Mosier earlier. Awesome dude, hell of a tattoo. So glad to see him joining. And yeah, man, the dojo's going great, and I'm excited about the expansion around here. I just griped before we got on this call about how shitty my computer is. So air expands, perhaps I can finally get my Roadcaster, get a new monitor, maybe get one of those pipeline kind of computers, make a few extra bucks.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I saw a whole new computer off of the blockchain crypto stuff. The Dfinity is what it's going to be called. And they're talking about, you're tired of the internet. You fucking hate the internet because of the censorship. Dfinity, all new Wild West, able to be on completely unregulated, everything you want for free speech and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see where, and that's how it always is. Internet 2 is going to pop up as just people who've had enough of, you took something that was golden and raw and turned it into a hoard out place for censorship and ghettos. And we'll turn the corner again and leave you in our dust and pioneer that way. So, yeah, who knows where we're going to be technology wise, maybe hologram wise, here after alien disclosure at the end of June. Maybe we'll get a whole new set of alien technology.
Everyone's not even talking about the alien stuff. It's crazy.
All right. And I laid it down too on, damn, what show was it? Monday Locker Room, maybe? You talking about Chris Statlander, and she was putting stuff over, a little bits in here and there, but they're missing out huge just doing the Boop thing. She tried to put over V, the show V back in the day, but she doesn't even really know about Alien Nation and all these things she could be taken from her, even ET with the Boop thing and where we're going. And she should be really leading the forefront and not be with the best friends at all, especially as the great shape she's gotten herself into. Now, she was in bad shape before, but she looks like a main event player in their women's division now, and she wasn't on this show at all. But, there's a big opportunity to make that carny, phony wrestling alien thing very viable, very valuable right now. And I don't know, it might be as much as I got going on, I still won't be able to sleep at night unless I don't want to say slide into her DMs, but send her a DM about, hey, we've been watching a lot of your stuff, and I think that you should really pull for your business. And this is the way I would envision it going if I was directing it. Do as thou wilt after that. Good luck to you. And, I've done that for plenty of performers just because me as a creative, I'll lose my fucking mind if I just have to sit there with that in my head and not get it out where it could benefit somebody and benefit the industry entirely. I know, Sil, you're the same way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So you mean her being a legitimate ALF, alien life form, or ALF?
Yeah. Well, I mean, why not put it over that even if she is human or part alien or hybrid, if they want to do it, because we're humans, we're aliens to whatever UFOs, that we're aliens too. We have this inflated sense of self. If we go to Mars and there's a fucking mouse there from Mars, we're going to be alien to them. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be some high-end life form, because whatever life form is coming here, we probably look like dumb little fucking chimpanzees to them too. But she could play into the whole thing that humans are aliens, or that she is daughter of the Anunnaki demigod. If she wanted to, she can go as far with it as she wants to. And you have a chance to get over guys in wrestling like Michio Kaku, fucking who's the Greek guy from Ancient Alien Theory with the fucking blown out hair. Could you imagine him fucking doing a little promo, putting her over? Or even if you wanted to go full alien with it and you wanted to bring somebody out on pay-per-view with her, Drew Barrymore could get her over. And we're bringing out all, you know what I mean? We're taking all of these things. Yes, Sigourney Weaver would too, bro. Wouldn't that be something? And you think Khan wouldn't pay to make that happen? It's just, we're just at a low level of not taking that seriously. And there's what do we got? About a 6-week window to kind of start setting that stuff up. And I'd really like to see it just from the conspiracy horseman side, and the fact that she's prepared, looks ready, and I would trust her with that opportunity and to make a star.
That'd be pretty dope. I actually have a real life Alf story / road story. This involves one of our mutual friends, Hamin. I won't say his name on the air, but he once went on a very long jihad. Myself and this friend were booked for this horrible indie show. somewhere in like Alabama. It's one of those places where you drive for 3 hours and you go, how the fuck can there be civilization here? And then boom, there's this building where wrestling is. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we show up, and the promoter's this older gentleman, maybe around 50, heavyweight, kind of a little bit saggy. And he tells us where to go change. And it's like a clubhouse, bro. Just imagine a giant barn-like structure, but with like stadium seating. And the locker room, you have to climb a treehouse ladder, like the Little Rascals, to get up to this little loft up there where the boys change. So I see the promoter up there, and I'm trying to be nice to him. And I notice that on his gear bag, he has an Alf doll attached to the zipper. So I said, hey, man, cool Alf. And he looked at me, and I could tell he was excited, like he had a gleam in his eye. And he goes, oh, you think that's cool? And he opens up his bag, and he has about 5 different Alf dolls of assorted sizes. And he's like, well, I'm an Alf collector.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh shit, man. All right, cool. So a few minutes later, we'll say about an hour later, I really have to go to the bathroom, but I'm stuck in this treehouse with the Alf guy. And there's one bathroom at this barn, and it's the ones the fans use. And the show had begun. So I would have to walk down the treehouse ladder, go across the entire audience to get to the bathroom. So I say, fuck it, I got to do it. As I'm doing it, I realize that there's like a half-inch layer of water covering the entire floor of the arena. And as I finally get to the bathroom, I notice the toilet's leaking everywhere. So the toilet has flooded this whole building.
Right.
So I still do my business. I go take the number 1. And I tell our friend who had been on that jihad for quite a while, I said, bro, you don't want to go to that bathroom. 30 minutes later, it's time for his match, and no one can find him. So I go outside figuring he's trying to pee. And just in the brush, I see a 6-foot-tall tan gentleman in a standing squat with his white tights around his quad area, trying to knock one out. And I'm like, bro, your music is on. You got to go. So I guess he's sucks it back in or drops it off and hits up. And Alf guy of the year right there.
That's a strong fucking story all the way around. I feel like I've worked that place a couple times but never worked there.
You're probably the champ.
Yeah.
I was
Go ahead.
going to say with Chris Statlander, if she does turn heel, then she better come out with a taxidermy cat. She better be dressed in.
I mean, you could get all that. You could even get Alf on the show in a backstage pre-tape with her to get it over if you wanted to, man. Like, I would play everything that's happened in the last 30, 40 years from the nostalgia to the now and encompass it all in her character. And they have the chance to do that here.
What was the dad's name on Alf? Who's the
Willie. Willie. Yeah. Yeah, man. Good talk up top here. RBV's in the chat, and we had BRV this morning in the other chat. So all of our initial guys are here, and it was a great time this morning. A longer show today, again, about 2 hours 12 minutes with Big Stevie Cool and nice. All the headlines. Yeah, man, great talk always. It goes by so fast, just like with you guys. But let's knock this one out because this was a big show. MSG, what are the headlines and what are the numbers, baby?
Well, let's start, of course, with some headlines, as you mentioned there. The first thing I thought was interesting. You probably discussed this on the Friday Locker Room, but I wanted to give Silvio an opportunity as well. WWE's reaction, backstage news on Blood and Guts match.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this, so good for us.
For WWE officials apparently hated the inaugural Blood and Guts match on last week's Dynamite, according to a report by PW Insider. The report notes that one person in WWE management told Dave Scherer that Blood and Guts match set the business back 30 years. However, several active WWE superstars that Scherer spoke to loved the match. They would love to do something like that themselves. While there, of course, were no minor injuries coming out of Blood and Guts, the 10 wrestlers involved in the match did suffer, of course, a lot of bumps and bruises. As we saw Sammy Guevara of the Inner Circle posted a graphic of like some of the nasty scars and welts he had. Casually, Wheeler posted out just like some bloody gear. We saw Jericho wearing a brace tonight, whether he was selling that or not from injury. That was good into the story.
Sure.
So what did you think, Silvio, to start? Did it set the business back 30 years?
Fuck no. I heard that story, dude. They didn't hate it. They are hating because they can't have that. So they have to bash it. You know, it would be anti-W. It's like, think of it like a political party. They have to bash something like that because they simply cannot present it. I think right now in 2021, we have to be very mindful of the health precautions when we're doing blood. Okay. So I don't want to go on the indie shows and see strangers swapping blood with each other because we don't know who has what and who's doing what. But in a setting like an AEW or a WWE, all of the athletes there are tested. So, you know, I'm sure all of those guys were tested, and I hope they were tested after. So as long as you know that both parties involved are not going to spread a disease and they're both willing to bleed, then fuck yeah, let them do it. I love blood in wrestling, not all the time, you know, but it's not like they're bleeding every week on TV. So I think WWE's just hating on it because they can't do it. Think of all the times we've seen blood on WWF programming. Fucking 90, what was it, Hamin? Maybe 98 through 2003-ish was Blood City.
Well, I would even say before that, probably, right? Early Austin and Brett and all that kind of shit. We're getting all kinds of color.
They banned it for a few years, but around the Attitude Era, it came back.
Do you think their argument, I guess, on their side is that, you know, the only reason why they were, I guess, pushing more of that hardcore narrative in the late 90s, early 2000s was to combat ECW versus 20 years later, they feel like the wrestling industry has evolved? And you don't think it's more so that versus them being not able to do it? You think WWE wants, like, officials want to do stuff like this? I mean, because they already do it.
ECW did it because WWE had whitewashed so much, and they knew they had it. And they get excessive color sometimes. But that's the Baskin Robbins 31 flavors of ice cream, how it should be. You should have the Blue World Order, and then you should have Sandman versus Sabu in barbed wire. You know what I mean? So I agree with Sil. They're hating, but they have done this. They did War Games at NXT. And I saw a lot of fans liking that one better. I didn't watch it, so I don't know, because the Undisputed Era don't impress me much. And I mean, all they can really say that would set anything back was the fact that the production team didn't have the stunt fall shot the right way, so it exposed the business of landing on a porta pit. So if you got
that's the only legit gripe they happen.
The match was fucking fine. It was worked the right way. Heels, when they had the numbers, they were on top getting heat. New babyface comes in. They fire up, even off. Fucking heels get back on top with their guy when he comes back in. That's how you work that match. They worked the match absolutely fine. And even with the, you know, shit that went on in the ring with all the chairs and pulling stuff up or using the turnbuckle, I wasn't like, this is way too much or this was that or the other. It was the ending, just like the fucking explosion match that killed him in this. There was nothing wrong with the rest of that. And if you want to talk about WWE matches that are good and the finish fucking is a fart in church, sad trombone, well, there's plenty of fucking things that we can point fingers right back at you and fucking say, well, how about this fucking pile of shit? How about the fact when you're trying to do your cliffhangers and guys are bumping, they won't even take Drew McIntyre's fucking flying knee because they're scared. Well, it's really APOC's flying knee, and Drew took it from him. So, you know, like that, there's like, if they're supposed to be the top of the food chain, there's things they botch every week. You got a guy who can't even do a sunset flip and know to get his fucking legs apart to the guy to land on. So he brings them right down on your own show on Raw. So if you want to talk about setting the business back, you got people on your show that are going to take wrestling lessons now, and they've been on your TV for how long? So they're just as guilty of putting amateurs on there. Same with Eva Marie, you know, beautiful and all this shit, and the pre-tapes look good. Then the bell rings, and then we'll see. And then we'll see how things work out for you of pointing fingers. But do they have to do it? No. And if you got guys you're courting that you want to bring over, you know, but the sheets are going to stooge and fucking the office is going to talk their shit. There's plenty of mudslinging to do. Even NXT this week was better than all 5 hours of both main programming shows. And I watched all 7 hours. And yeah, bro. So, you know, I'm very aware of what is going on, and they can put out all the little fucking propaganda pieces they want to sling mud back and forth. There's a lot of children in this business who shouldn't be out there with men. And when you see Killer Cross standing next to him, you see the difference real quick.
I've got another theory on this, boys. It is not often that we hear WWE even acknowledge really AEW outside of those Triple H calls where one of the, journalists will ask a question about them. So the fact that they went out of their way to talk about this and it made the wrestling news, my theory is they might be shook a little bit by it at the fact that AEW did take it to that next level and they're doing something that WWE literally cannot do. And they happen to be number one in cable that night.
What's the number one rule in Heat that you don't want to do? What did they do?
They put the other guy over.
They sold for him. They sold. They should have just shut the fuck up and let the internet have their way with the fucking botch finish. But now when they come over the top, they just lowered themselves off of the higher ground that they could have sat there silently and fucking just smiled like a Cheshire cat. Yeah. And fucking, but instead now they're fucking, oh, they said that about us, but we'll get a dig back in on that. Okay. You fucked up in the Cold War. You don't even now they don't know how to do this shit.
What do you think, Maddie? They shook or no?
I don't know. They, as you mentioned, they very seldomly talk about put over AEW, but as Tony Khan likes to put over, I opened the forbidden door. So maybe he's opening up these different doors to building these relationships. And maybe we will see. I mean, AEW has got all those international relationships, right? There's that rumor WWE is going to be working with MLW. Maybe by 2025, we'll finally get a World Series of Wrestling. And we'll see all of the major brands send their top guys in for a tournament.
I never see that happening, bro. This is just...
I know, but one can dream.
Weak players in the game not playing the game the right way. It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about control and if you can take it. And fucking they are not. They gave up control when they did that shit. That's right. Fucking and they just are exposing their own ass on that kind of stuff, man. It's a dumb look. It's a bad look. And if anybody gets quoted as who said it, they're gonna have heat on them, no doubt. Dude, WWE opened Raw with Charlotte and Asuka tagging against with fucking Japanese Team Pretty and Tits and Biceps in a cold open match. You want to fucking throw stones? There's no quicker way to fucking get people to go change the channel for 6 minutes than a shitty 6 women's opener botch fest. Like, please.
Was that the one where like Alexa used her doll to make Shayna Baszler's leg?
Yeah, and Baszler sells the wrong leg afterwards, and a fucking swing set with a pedophile's dream appears out of nowhere. It's just like, what the fuck is this phony dog shit? And you're gonna say about setting the industry back 30 years? You're not even in the industry with that shit. You're fucking.
I
You're
didn't watch it, but I heard all about that particular segment.
Trash. And so why would you even want to step up and fucking throw rocks? Ain't no such things as halfway crooks, man. None they shook. Go ahead.
I was going to put over the fact you mentioned Botchamania. Botchamania went down. They got hacked or they got taken down, and then they resurfaced. So they are back. So if you're looking for Botchamania stuff, I watched the
and they took down the girl on Cinema Strikes too, and now she's totally kind of like she's kind of doing it tongue in cheek, but she is kind of marking out for him. And is like Miss AEW. Now, I think she thinks it's going to get her on TV, and maybe there's something going on behind that. I would put her on TV, to be honest with you. She's cute enough, and she's articulate as any of their performers are, and let her be what's the one girl who was the Bailey fan there who Izzy. Like, she's going to be older version, but let her kind of be, because that she's a lot easier to fucking listen to than and a better face for your fan base than the neckbeard 35-year-olds who are fucking putting over Orange Cassidy looking like fucking total douches. So like as a PR to be able to convert her from a critic, heal those fucking YouTube strike wounds or whatever, and she gets over on them, dude, I think the fan base would embrace her. I think there's money there with her in promotional value.
All right, just a couple more things here. Then one, I had Darby Allin and Sting apparently got pulled over a couple times while they were shooting the vignette for the pay-per-view opening. Allin notes that they saw him skating down the street. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had my face paint on, speeding in a truck. And they were like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "It's for professional wrestling, AEW." Charlie Caruso, apparently this interview took place on a ESPN show, asked him to delve in his friendship with Tony Hawk. And he said that he actually used to film stunts for him back in 2011, way before I stepped into a wrestling ring. Fast forward all these years later, the kid who used to film stunts for him, he ended up seeing me as a professional wrestler. So it came full circle. I started skating with him and going to his warehouse. And it was a crazy time. But
what a dream come true that would have been, huh? Wow.
He went on to note that it's crazy, but nothing has prepared him for wrestling more than skateboarding, and all the years of falling on concrete shaped him to who he is today. And that he wants to be the guy who takes skateboarding into the wrestling world. I thought it was a good, interesting interview. He also noted that a director from The Joker, Todd Phillips, and some other raw, gritty directors are some of the people that inspire him on his vignettes and stuff like that. So, what did you think about that, Silvio? You have any crazy stories of filming vignettes in the middle of the night and getting messed with by the authorities?
I've been messed with by the authorities many a times, but I don't think during a vignette. If this was the one that they shot for Dynamite this week, I loved that vignette. That was fucking awesome.
Good.
The one where he goes to the underground skate park place. Yeah,
real place too. Seattle.
Piece. Dude, smart man. Fucking, I got to tip my hat to Darby. Maddie, I know you were coming up around the same area. Do you know where Darby actually started, like school-wise or trainer-wise?
Buddy Wayne, didn't he?
I don't know. I've heard that, but I can't confirm it.
So
I know that to be a fact.
I know that he's trained with Buddy Wayne, but then I also thought he was trained at like the East Coast as well for a little bit. Like I thought he was up in MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling area. But I know.
Go ahead, Matt.
But I was going to say, I know that he trained with Buddy Wayne out this way for sure. If you're in the West or the Northwest, you're going through that area if you want to be a good professional wrestler. And if you want to get look, because he was at the, he was linked up with everybody at the time.
I can definitely see in his work sprinkles of the teachings that we received, Hamin. Like just when I watch the importance he puts on selling and how to work with bigger men and other opponents, like he's smart. He's next level psychology smart for younger wrestlers in 2021.
And for those who don't know, Buddy Wayne and Rip Rogers were best friends until Buddy Wayne's recent passing a few years ago. So that's why you do see emphasis on character, emphasis on the fucking sell from fighting from underneath. They booked some bullshit with him and Brian Cage for him going over the wrong way. But, there definitely is that absolute. He feels like Fang to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's it, right? You know what I mean? He's Fanger from our era. I'm just a big skateboarding mark because people might not know this, but I skated for a lot of years until I got too big and was just snapping boards and shit. And that was one thing I was actually pretty goddamn athletic at, and shockingly enough. But I love that shit being incorporated in there. I've shot vignettes and I've never really been stopped. And when I shoot vignettes on location, it's usually going to be a hot button location. Standing in front of a tank on the VFW, standing in front of a helicopter on the military base that's just there to make it look like that, standing in front of a fucking drone and like cars are going by and I'm in full gimmick on the fucking base, bro. Like, it's about getting, especially at the indie level, if you don't want to look like just another asshole standing in a hallway by a preschool fucking, thing behind you where we're having these shows at the community center, you got to get out and do something and make it look right. That's going to especially facilitate my character with as much backstory as I have being a CIA op and living on an underground military base, the whole nine. Well, I got to show that. But without shooting permits, it's roll up, get it in one take, maybe two, and get the fuck out of there before anybody rolls in on you, man. And what pops me is AEW is doing the same thing on their TV show, but at least That's Darby and Sting taking care of their business and doing something together that fucking means something, you know? And I bet it's a minimal crew, not even AEW affiliated, because Darby's editing his own shit, and that's why it fucking stands out. It's not the guys from Atlanta at DDP Yoga who fucking edit most of their pre-tape stuff. Those guys are doing things like the Jade fucking backstage promos and shit like that. That's what they're doing. When you see the Art Nouveau, when you see that shit, that's Darby, you know? Like when you see it in fucking WWE, that's Jimmy Paradise. So,
yeah. Just to confirm it was, but yeah, he was trained by Buddy when he made his debut in February of 2015.
There you go, man.
All right, well, let's get into some AEW numbers here. I did have a couple other things, but I can actually bring them up during the show since it involves Inner Circle people. But the first thing here is AEW last week, May 5th, 2021, 1.09 million viewers. So back up again. That's over the last 4 weeks. They've had 1.219 million, 1.104 million, and then April 28th edition. I mean, the week before they had 889,000. So their viewership has been on the rise, and I think last night's show probably will hold that 1 million, as I believe we'll get into here. It was a really good show. The AEW Dynamite YouTube viewership last Wednesday was down just a little bit, about 800,000, 2 million, but still had 2.1 million. Most viewed was the shocking conclusion to the Blood and Guts match between MJF and Jericho, and that got 500,000 views. Least viewed was Dr. Britt Baker getting ready for her shot at the AEW Women's World Championship. That only got 60,000 views, with the average viewership at about 200,000.
I just want to address this. Mike Martin, you got a good point. His bump card's filling up fast. We're talking about Darby Allin here a minute ago. But yeah, and this was a point I wanted to make with skateboarding. There is a big thing to learning how to take a slam. And if you've ever skated, like really skated hard or skated 7 foot, 8 foot ramps, I've never skated verts like at 12 foot, but fucking skate a lot of ramp. And when you fall from 8 feet onto fucking hard ass plywood, you need to know how to go limp, not have your arm where you're going to fucking break your wrist, where you have to naturally try and break your fall. Or if you're hauling ass and you hit a little pebble and get the, and you fucking go flying and you're about to go over a curb and roll and fucking do that shit. There is a difference in how wrestlers are trained and to take bumps and naturally learning how to fall skateboarding wise. And I see a ton of that in how to throw yourself and land and not worry about it and tuck and roll in the right way, as opposed to a wrestler who's trying to tuck their chin, hit a flat back bump so it's spread over the course of your entire back while you're not hurting your neck and back too much. So him being with Tony Hawk and that shit, I'm sure he skated and slammed on the biggest shit. And then you see it in the way he did the dive this week and just fucking hucked himself through the ropes, like, you know, just at Mach 4. But I see him turning, getting ready to take that fucking roly-poly bump. So even if he gets missed when he hits, it wouldn't be the worst. That's just his natural instinct. So for those who don't know and haven't skateboarded, there really is a way to go loose when you fall, fucking, you know, and to get over that in your mind, well, you only need to fall a couple times skateboarding, putting your hands out and getting palms full of fucking gravel to stop you from fucking doing it the wrong way, you know, and I see a lot of that in there too. So there is value in learning how to bump, I guess, in a different way for that sport. And he uses it pretty well. We saw it last week when he took the roll down the steps. Like, those are concrete steps, and I'm sure it would hurt, but to some degree. But if you've been trying to do handrails, you know, front side grinds or whatever the fuck, and you take that, you're going to have to jump off your board. Your feet are going to hit, and then you're going to roll down those steps. He's taking that bump on the street for free at least 1,000 times, I would imagine. So there's some interesting stuff there in the crossover, but, you know, just point being made that way. Go ahead, Matt.
I've spoken on that before too, man. You know, when I've seen Darby take bumps that I thought were not necessary for the situation, but as I watch him evolve as a wrestler and his psychology, I am noticing Darby doing less unneeded risks than he has to.
Agree.
He is getting smarter about when to do these. If he continues to up that wrestling IQ year over year, then I can see him lasting, you know, into his 30s. maybe even 40. The Darby of 3 years ago, I would agree. There ain't no way he's going to make it to 33. But if he keeps learning at the pace he is, I think he'll be all right.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, let's before we get into AEW Dynamite review, I just want to thank our sponsors. Go ahead and check out ZordosOliveOil.com. It's Greek artisan olive oil. It's flown in from Greece. So I mean, right from their field.
It was single pressing, cold press, and it's ultra premium graded, 98 percentile, higher than anything you're going to find in your grocery store. A true artisanal product. Comparable products on Amazon are selling for $75 a bottle. Ooh. So if you've got a chef in your life or a foodie, ZordosOliveOil.com. That's definitely the place to get. And I think it's like $30 a bottle there now. And who knows, with gas prices going up, you may need to be running your car on it. It might be cheaper.
And you potentially, if you could figure it out, and that they created the water engine back in the 50s and 60s before it was killed off. You could also buy some Russo Bro coffee, thebrosters.com. You can make some coffee. Maybe the car will run off the coffee one day as well, as that coffee gives you a nice kick in the morning.
Yeah, you might just run to work off of it, or else if you drink too much of it, you'll be running to the bathroom pretty fucking quick because she'll rip through you.
As Mike Roche notes here in the chat room, he's quoting RBV, Russo Bro coffee with their chocolatey notes.
It does have chocolatety notes in it. It's very chocolatey, naturally. It's not Ali out in the bushes chocolatey, but it's fucking good enough, man.
Who's that?
I had a stooge report too, a little that came in from He Who Shall Not Be Named about backstage politics in AEW. I don't know if y'all want to hear it or not. Let's just say one of the top tag teams who came over from WWE, that one guy gets it and the other guy doesn't, and the rest of the locker room kind of looks at him like he's a mark for the things he fucking says and the decisions he tries to push in the booking, where everybody just kind of like looks at him and rolls their eyes, and they may or may not be in one of these super groups as well. So
who we're talking about.
What's that?
I said, I wonder who we're talking about.
So I'm not naming names, but that's how it goes, man. Where people, it's a good work environment and this, that, or the other. There was another thing still. I don't know if you saw NXT this week, but MSK faced Breezango for comedy somewhat get your shit and get over match. And there's one spot where the ref, and I hate this, but I'll get your opinion of why they did it. They did a complete house show spot, right? Fucking ref gets in the way, does a drop down, they jump over, he comes back, leapfrog. He just missed turning and
leapfrog.
Yeah, the ref drop down, jump over, come back, leapfrog again. So now it doesn't matter. The ref's the most over person in this match, right? But on commentary, Stu Sanders, Wade Barrett goes, he goes, I hate referees who get involved in the matches and to get themselves over. I think that was a direct fuck you to Aubrey Edwards and why they put that in there, bro. Like, if she wants to get them over, so they're doing a complete house show spot, something you should never do on TV, to do that so Barrett could get that fucking covert line. And if they're already selling for the War Games match and that shit, is that they're fucking, we'll get her there too, bro.
See, this is why you have like 400 editions of the Conspiracy Horsemen. You can just put all these fucking put all these little people. What if? I love how your brain works. That's funny. The irony of that is the referees leapfrogging and doing a high spot, yet WWE doesn't allow the referees to use their names on broadcasts.
They've had to put him over. Like, he totally stole the show. You know what I mean? So why would you put a house show?
What did the commentators say? The man in the ring did a leapfrog, since we can't say his name.
I think Beth sold for it and put him over, and then Barrett healed. I hate when referees get involved in the matches and steal the spotlight from the performers. Boom. And fucking, like, why else would you put that in there? You know, why would you do a house show spot like that? It'd be like when Hebner beat up DX, like doing that on TV. You would never fucking do that shit, you know?
Who
As
knows?
well, guys, check out Rode.com/the Rodecaster Pro. And you can also get yourself a fancy board here with all the awesome sound effects and sounds that you can use. All right. Ding dong.
Hello?
That's right. Let's get into AEW Dynamite. I'm gonna light the fuse, guys. IWP US champ Jon Moxley tonight with Eddie Kingston comes out to the ring to defend his championship against the legendary Blue Justice Yuji Nagata, who was accompanied by Ren Narita or Narata. I don't know how to pronounce that name, and I should. Moxley came out to Wild Thing though by the Trogs. That was his, I guess maybe I don't know, his new music, or he was just debuting it for the night. I thought I saw people complaining about it. I was like, well, he is defending the IWGP Championship, so maybe he comes out to something similar like that as the American over there. So I thought it was fitting for the match. I would have liked to have seen him though in his like wrestling gear that he wears in New Japan versus the typical pants and whatnot look. I just thought that maybe would have separated versus the Mox versus Jon Moxley kind of characters.
So you were wishing he didn't wear pants.
I didn't say that.
Now we're talking, pal. Yeah.
I didn't say that, I was wishing
I meant some booty shorts.
Dog is not appropriate when we have company. Ever. Beating off the dog is not appropriate ever.
No, I wish he had been in his wrestling gear versus his laid back look. Awesome match though to start. As I mentioned, I thought this whole show from top to bottom kept my attention. But we just had two guys who just beat the crap out of each other. I didn't think there wasn't an overabundance of strong style. I thought they, did it in specific spots that was necessary.
Yes.
Two big guys.
It was American right style, strong style.
And eventually, Mox hits his paradigm shift and no one kicks out of the paradigm shift. So Mox picks up the victory and still your champ, IWGP champion, Moxley. Silvio, what'd you think? I see you got your little buddy there jumped up on your lap.
I do. Monroe's hanging out today. Hamin, I'm very surprised to hear that you enjoyed this one. I like that.
I did, man, because they didn't do a bunch of no-sell dumb bullshit or spots where something's devastating and you hulk right up and run right the fuck out like it didn't happen. They sold for each other. They gave back and forth. I felt like I was working this match because I wouldn't want to be in there hitting them with a bunch of shit. Let's roll out. Let's fight on the outside. Let's get back in, cut you off, shine up. Nothing really devastating heat-wise because we're showing respect. And then we get the Mr. Miyagi-Danielson fucking moment at the end, which is really what the business is about, giving Yuji Nagata his props and showing the history of IWGP and the crossover, the Forbidden Door or whatever, of paying respect to Japanese wrestling. But they didn't do it in a Japanese wrestling fucking hulk up and no sell some dumb shit kind of way. So I thought it was excellent.
This one was a bit of a roller coaster for me. I love how they started with the split screen, and I really wish they would do more of those and build them for the big matches throughout the show. Like, had this been the main event, if you keep seeing them periodically with the split screen preparing for the match. I just love that visual. So that was cool. I liked the backstage stuff they did before, and they even Yuji backstage looked kind of cool. I have to admit, I was taken back a little bit when he came through the curtain and got into the ring. For some reason, he did not look as old to me on the pre-tapes as he did when I saw him walk into the ring. Yeah. So he very much had an old man vibe to him, and it took me a minute to get into the match, to be like, man, this is an old man wrestling their top guy. I don't know what kind of look that is. But to their credit, they worked so hard and so well together that as the match progressed and we got towards the finish, I was sucked in. I was enjoying what was happening. I could buy Yuji's offense, even though he was in his 50s, because his shit looked legit. Moxley's shit looked legit. So at the end of the day, it wound up being a good match, and that show of respect at the end was really cool. So a segment that started with me being a little iffy ended up being great. So I thought they did the best they possibly could have done.
I agree. There's just one little spot where things were kind of like, there was a lot of air in that. But aside from that, dude, you could say that about every one of my fucking matches. So this was a great kickoff. And I remember I first probably saw Yuji Nagata when those guys came over here and they were doing the ECW stuff. There's a 6-man on some show that he's in when they were doing the Blue World Order knockoff. That was fucking great. But yeah, man, I thought this was what it should be. Our Todd Brantley, guy I worked with in Rochester, says the wild thing was a nod to Anita. Problem was the commentary never mentioned it. Well, I thank you for that. And I never would have known that, but here's the thing. We're so deep up New Japan's ass with all these fucking references, bro, that it's for a 10% micro demographic inside of a demographic that's already tiny already. Why are we doing these things that are going to open us up to a lot of people today saying it was stupid he came out the wild thing? I liked it because I fucking think of, Vaughn from fucking from Major League. So it's got some value there to me, but I don't know, like if they're going to tell these stories, that's a great fucking thing that Todd brings up here. But that if you're not going to have that underlying premise of the whole fucking pay respect to Japan story and IWGP and all that shit, then what are we doing? That's just little mark out fucking kernels for no reason whatsoever.
I just thought Tony Khan had bought Moxley a new entrance.
Too. That's all I thought.
Likes Major League.
Yeah. That's what I figured too, bro. Exact same. And he is kind of a Rick Vaughn type fucking character, so it worked. But if it's to fucking pay attention to fucking some asshole thing that happened at Wrestle Kingdom fucking 14 back in 90, like, fuck that, bro. I don't give a shit.
So next up, Inner Circle members are backstage. Ortiz, Hager, and Sammy Guevara. They're interviewed by Alex Marvez. They explained that Jericho was injured and that Santana was detained for using a fork in the match. And I do have some news on that. It actually says here that Santana just was feeling sick yesterday. So he stayed home for precautionary precaution just during the pandemic. Just wasn't feeling well. So that's the only news we have. I mean, maybe he could be filming further, but as of now, he just noted that he just was currently sick and was taking precautions.
He's got the stomach bug that's going around. He's pissing out his ass like everybody else. I heard that 7 dudes from New Japan fucking have COVID. And then there was the story the Dreamer kind of put out that he got it up on Kevin Matthews' Alaska tour, and he said others on there did too. And I kind of been I just looked at a couple of their social media and they were all laying low. Nobody was saying shit. So Dreamer kind of stooged them, but at the same time, those guys don't want to fuck up their indie bookings, which here we go still, right? Like fucking that's where they're gonna use that as leverage for everybody to get fucking zapped.
Immediately after Stevie Richards pulled out of that BWO match in Alaska, and now they have what's his name? Black Machismo. He's replacing Stevie Richards in that match. So they're doing some sort of 6-man up there in Alaska this summer. That being said, he said, "Hide behind your victory tonight, but you failed. We want another match," says Hager. "We told you couldn't, you'd have to kill us, so you failed. Give us our rematch or we'll put you in the grave," says Sammy. So they want a rematch. The American Nightmare, a.k.a. Captain America, Cody Rhodes, makes his way out to the ring as far as announcement for Double or Nothing. And I say Captain America because that's basically how I felt this promo went. Not that it was bad, but it was very Anthony Ogogo is British. I'm American. I have American spirit. For one night only at Double or Nothing, I'm going to be the American dream, because if anybody's going to pick up that mantle, it's me or my brother. And of course, they just got done showing the Captain America series on Disney Plus, and that whole thing was about that character picking up the mantle as well. So I thought it was a little apropos there, kind of staying within, I guess, pop culture. But he cut a lengthy program, said that the irony is Anthony has a visa courtesy of the Department of DOT. You talk about division, anger, take it from an American. The argument is what makes us who we are. Our empathy outweighs our anger. And then he says, "You didn't come here to live the England dream, did you? You like to educate, like to pontificate on what the United States is. In 2021, in the very same city, my wife will give birth to a beautiful white and beautiful black American princess." This is where he pandered a little bit. "Shun neither, and I want her to know I didn't just lay down another man's flag. I got up off my ass, I fought back, and here's where we're going to do the fighting at Double or Nothing." So It was a very
reality is he just fucking dropped the trademark for the American Dream when he found out that he didn't have the legs to stand on, so he doesn't own that name. So it's kind of counteractive to this stand up and grab the flag promo that the moniker he wants to own, he's just kind of given up on and didn't fight for it. And dude, like all the stuff that with Anthony Ogogo or all the wrestling stuff, what did people hear? My daughter is both black and white and will know her fucking American heritage. The SJW thing. What do? Cut to a white guy in the fucking crowd with a Black Lives Matter shirt on who raises the black power fist, bro. There's nothing more apropos visually to go, look at you fucking joke woke motherfuckers who think you get it and lump you in with that. And then his wife puts over, this was a promo that will go down in history, and someday I'll play it for our daughter and she'll understand. Like fucking all the American patriot shit.
It was a very Captain America promo, like I said.
Dude. Cody delivered it well. He gets emotional and whatnot. But this is where the world is tired of going. And what are you going to teach your daughter about both of her heritages? She's going to be proud of Black Lives Matter, but hate herself because she's white and has white guilt at the same time. Is that what you're going to fucking put in your kid? Because that's what you pretty much said out loud to put that over. Or you're going to fucking, she's going to be, she can marry a Klan member in the South, but she'll still be interracial.
And she'll get her Air Force commercial too about over.
Yeah, she'll fucking. Oh shit, bro! Like this is the confused double speak dialogue that the AEW, fucking SJW, liberal. They're going to eat their own. They're already eating their own on a lot of fronts. Say goodbye to Ellen. Say goodbye to fucking who's next. These types of things need to be either really embraced in wrestling and made into a big stereotypical character. You can't play it real like that, bro, because it's only going to blow up in your fucking face.
This is like a super hot button issue, too much to even delve deep into while we review a wrestling show.
Yeah.
But man, like, I feel like white guilt is like any other guilt. If you have nothing to be guilty of, then you are not guilty. You should not feel guilty. Right. Matthew is a Caucasian man on the West Coast who's a fine gentleman who does nice things, lives his life, doesn't fuck with anyone. He has no reason to have any guilt because he's done nothing wrong.
Oh, hold on. Matthew's great-great-grandfather.
So what? That's not him.
No, dude, that is. Matt has to pay for the sins of the past to come around.
Talking heads tell other white folks.
You obviously are racist, and Silvio, and don't get how this works. You don't understand it. If Matt doesn't feel guilty for what his great-great-great-grandfather did to then pay off in some way and bow to make an affirmative action hire who is far less qualified than Matt, if Matt doesn't step down, take his jacket off, put it on a mud puddle, and say, please take my job because what my grandfather did, 160 years ago, I need to own up for that. And if I don't, then I am not the best person I can be. And that's where the fuck we really are, dude. Let's do
a conspiracy horseman on this because I'd love to dig deep into that one with you. But I do stand by, if you've done nothing wrong, there's nothing to be guilty of. As far as Cody's promo, he's a great promo.
How did that work out for us in chat from our other friend last week? Of what you just said, there's nothing to be guilty of. Why are you
guilty? Do you?
No, I don't feel guilty for saying what I wanted to say, but they don't hear it. What I'm telling you is the truth. What they hear is something completely different.
And that, my friend, we can't always control, But as far as Cody's promo on this wrestling review show, Cody talked about this political thing. But because he's a babyface, he had to be so neutral that I could just see how carefully he was walking the tightrope. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'd want to walk this weird line that Cody's trying to walk. And he was very, very careful with his words.
Why bring it up when you're giving?
I agree.
You're trying to act completely like, you know, in that space. Meanwhile, your baby's nursery is on People Magazine for how much money, bro?
I don't know. I don't read that publication.
Mm.
But what was interesting about all this is that they decided to do I like the American dream concept. That's cool. Like how it's, you know, he's going against this English guy. I like the it's not called the English dream. I like that line. I think they probably could have left the opening political stuff out of it. What he said about his daughter is real, and he probably feels that way. So if he wants to,
that was the real emotion.
You know
that was,
I mean?
He grounded himself. I mean, regardless what he's saying there, that's a truth.
Right.
And we want to give them real emotion, and
Right.
he went to a place where he plucked that string on himself. I like that stuff.
Right. So I love that. The only question I had at the end of watching this, and I'll ask both of you, was all of the stuff. Cody's a great promo. Promo was good, just the weirdness. But with all of the QT stuff, was that just to set up this Anthony Ogogo match or feud?
I don't know, man. I don't know. And I saw some news too from Anthony Ogogo where he said he's 78% blind in his left eye and might be going fully blind as well. Matt, a lot of our African-American listeners are holding you responsible at this time, and you will pay reparations to them. You know, so that's
hold on. I just want to let you know, just some facts here that actually my great-great-grandfather is a war hero. I just wanted to pull this up.
Which army? Which army?
Hold on. This was during World War II. He actually has a theater of him in Guam, resurrected after him. You can go to Guam. It's called the Schaefer Theater, and that's because during D-Day he was able to kill over a dozen Japanese people. So these are not black people. I love my black brothers and sisters. With you, I'm down for the cause. There's nothing.
And Matt, what is your favorite type of artwork and cartoons?
It is Japanese animation.
See what I'm saying? He's got the fucking guilt, bro.
That's guilt. That's
now he's culturally appropriating them. And let's go back 2 more grandfathers. See which one which war they fought on. See, Matt. I mean, that's just how it is. It's not your fault, but it's completely your fault.
Oh, I really wish I had the clip, Cujo. Japanese are racists. Japanese are racist.
Mm-hmm.
That's just such an evil man. I've learned on this episode of
he is.
AEW World Tag Team Title match was up next. We had the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, with Impact's Don Callis and the Good Brothers taking on the #1 ranked SCU, Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels and Frank Kazarian. Something that I wanted to point out.
These comments are a fucking trip.
I know they're hysterical. So that I wanted to point out, being the Elite this week, Matt Jackson gave a really good 5-minute promo, and then at the conclusion of it, he threw it right back at the fans, and he went, "Put that on Dynamite." And it went like it started the show. So I thought that was really good. SCU did a really good, or Christopher Daniels did a pretty good, like, you know, I'd say he did a good promo, and I'd say the editing of it was being the Elite. I'm glad that they brought it here and they redid it again on Dynamite, because I thought the package that they put together with SCU talking about their match before or talking about their career and everything before was really good. So, but if you want to see a full 5 to 6 minute retrospective on the full Young Bucks and SCU, you can go check out the latest Being the Elite, because they did a really good job as far as editing tons of pictures, telling their backstory, their road stories and stuff like that. So, but SCU apparently feels betrayed by what the Young Bucks have become, said Excalibur. Bucks have gone their goon squad with them, notes Shivani, and Kazarian Daniels must win or they're done by their own admissions at Jim Ross to start off the match. So these guys had a great match. I mean, these guys have worked over 35 matches together. They've said they've worked 10 times or 12 times head to head. And this was technically the rubber match, as they were 6-6. But ultimately, there was a lot of schmoz in the end, a little bit. We saw some blood happen. They got bloody. They set the business back apparently 10 years. But ultimately, in the end, you were still tag champs. Young Bucks and SCU is done. One thing before we get in, I'll let you guys know. I didn't like the end of it. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna cut really quick backstage," and I was like, "Oh, you kind of took away Daniels and Kazarian moment of them culminating as a team." I wanted to see that emotion of them losing. I wanted to see them hug. They took that away from me, and I was a little bummed.
Have you not been reviewing the show for the last 20?
I know.
Yeah, man, stepping on business is what they do, and that was the fucking final moment for them. So I agree. This match was fucking phenomenal. It was a Young Bucks. It was a Young Bucks SCU match. I saw it in 2CW 6 years ago, and this was as good, if not better. Kazarian worked his ass off while Daniels was down with all the color. I mean, it was your 1985 Flair color that you want on the magazine cover. You know, it was phenomenal. I don't know if he hard weighed on the post and it split him right here, and he did it because he hit the post and he didn't have his hand up. But then they cut back to the other action with Nick and Kaz, and then when they go back to him, he's got it coming down. So I don't know if he fucking quick above his eyebrow or not, because that's where it's coming from, or if he actually just hard weighed. You know, there's so much scar tissue there. It probably doesn't take much for Daniels to do that. But this was a Young Bucks match, how it should be. Even with one or two no sells, a lot of their stuff now makes sense psychologically more than it did on the indies. And Nick Jackson was really shining in this. There's sometimes when Matt's really the focus with characters. We saw with the Johnny fucking ball punch, you know, the other week, he was kind of the star of that. Tonight it was the Nick Jackson show, in my opinion, man. It was very, very good.
I was gonna say the same thing. Nick really shined bright. They both did. And I'm gonna say right now about the Young Bucks, this is about the nicest thing I think one wrestler can say to another. Anytime that you know they're going to be on the show, you're going to get a damn good match. And this was no exception. I can't tell you there's been things I've nitpicked, like, man, why'd they do it this way? But I can't tell you the last time I saw a Young Bucks match where I was like, oh, this is fucking terrible. This is the shits. Like, I don't think I've ever complained about their matches. So I could tell by the way they were working this. If you watch, Daniels worked so hard and took some wicked bumps in this match that we have not seen from him consistently on AEW. Kazarian always, goes balls to the wall. He's working hard. I could tell where it was going very early. So I think the color was intentional as well, just to build more of that drama of Daniels trying to fight for every inch. And when he drags Frankie to the corner and tags himself in, and he's half loopy, walking around, still making the comeback. So I thought it was a really great match to watch. My theory is, I think I pitched this a few months back, we're going with Kazarian getting hot at Daniels for losing, Frankie turning heel,
sure,
and then that singles feud.
I think this might be how Daniels wraps up while Kazarian goes on as a singles. Sonic, you got a good point here, man. We might bitch about Cody and the SJW audience, but WWE will never even come close to scratching the surface of taking a chance of what they will actually do in AEW. I just wish we could craft it to wrestling instead of pandering. That's the biggest thing.
I got to put over the Bucks outfits again.
How about when he's bleeding and they get on the shoes? That's a good organic moment where we're fuck the moves. He's got color, we see it, and then he got blood on his fucking shoes, bro. And now the heat comes. Like, that was, I liked that little moment right there after getting over the fashion.
Now with everything I said, if I could nitpick one thing about it, the only thing I would say, okay, so we did that spot with the shoes, Hamin, right?
Yeah.
And then his friend Daniels was a bloody mess, and he was about to kick his head off. So the only nitpick I could give about all of this was 3 weeks ago they were friends. How did the Young Bucks become so scorned towards these two men to the point where they're willing to end their careers and possibly
it was kind of
it
was Daniels off of Daniels promo saying you're fucking pieces of shit. Are you going to go the right way? And what I thought Daniels cut that promo
but
pretty
can
well.
a human change personality wise that much in the span of 3 weeks?
Yes. I can. I've met tons of women where they can change in the span of a fucking week. Okay.
Yeah. I think
her name was Hillary. Her friends came to town. I found out her name was Morgan. Okay, I dated her for a couple months. I'm telling you,
sounds like a true story.
It was.
I don't know if I've shown this to you, Sil, or not, but this is from 2CW. This is the most fucked up bump. You're gonna cringe. It's from Daniels and Kazarian versus the Young Bucks. This is the Shin Destroyer heard around the fucking world, bro. This is bad.
Oh no. God bless the Young Bucks trying to save him.
He came back, bro, and I was like, bro, what can I get for you? He pulled his fucking tights down. He had hematomas on his fucking shins that were 1.5 inches high, just blood streaming down his shins, bro. He's like, anybody got any gimmicks? Fucking went and found him some hydros quick. He fucking whacked down 2 of those, but dude, they were just pulsating. That was 3 minutes into a 20-minute match. Oof. He had to fucking go on, dude. The fucking railing way too close, just double Shin Destroyer, bro. So bad. So fucking bad. We gotta watch her one more time. That's how bad it is.
I don't want to see that again.
Shit.
I am a little sad though that I'm not going to get to see them work together anymore in AEW.
Yeah, but maybe on 2CW reunion show it'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, if the 2CW show actually happens.
If it ever happens, right?
So you let it happen. Are you playing it again?
I was gonna, but the fucking YouTube
is one of the greatest tag teams is no more. Backstage, Kingston and Mox destroyed the Elite private dressing room. That's what they cut away to, guys. That was important. Get that in.
And it was super stupid. Like, oh no, they flipped a folding table and then they pushed a chair over. Like, it wasn't like they went back and took a fucking hot one in their bag, bro.
Here we go.
Up and over.
Matt Jackson to the floor.
That's just like, you don't even really feel like you're just stunned in shock of like what just happened to my fucking legs, bro. Nasty.
Those just listening to the audio, he's showing Christopher Daniels doing an Arabian moonsault to the floor a la Sabu. However, he whacks his shins on the guardrail as the Young Bucks attempt to save his life.
Yeah, they catch his upper trunk, but the rail was just too close.
Did you guys hear what they said at the end of this promo when Mox and Kingston broke up the locker room? Jenna didn't catch it, but I sure did.
I think I might have. I forgot, though. Go ahead.
They trashed the locker room, and Moxley said, "I'm going to the bathroom." And Eddie Kingston goes, "Go ahead, brother, blow it up."
Oh, yeah.
That was the part that popped me about that segment.
So following that, we've got Dasha interviewing Christian Cage. He says, Taz, no one denies at one point in time you were a bad man. Next week, you should send any member of Team Taz into the ring, and I'll be standing there. But at Double or Nothing, I'm throwing my hat into the Casino Battle Royale. And then all of a sudden, Matt Sydal interrupts him and says that he's got a surprise from next week, that he's the one that's gone ahead and filled out that open contract. He's going to go and face Christian Cage next week, and he's going to go on to win at the Casino Battle Royale. And I'm not going to lie, I marked out a little bit. I was like, fuck yeah, Sydal versus Christian. This is going to be a fucking awesome match.
She had a good line in there, though. He's like, oh, I hope it, hope it kicks off or something like better than it did last year, alluding to when Matt made his debut and slipped. And I liked Matt going, yeah, real funny. Well, here's the fucking thing. Like, that's how the boys who have heat would really do it. That was a very scripted but good moment. The way Christian delivered it as a backhander handed underneath the surface fucking shot, Matt acknowledging it, but no one ever calls it out of what anybody's saying. That's a good high level play. I like that.
You might have missed it, but Matt had a little high level jab as well when he said something like, it may not be Hall of Fame level.
I missed that. I missed
it. It was good. Of course, alluding to when they announced the Hall of Fame level guy was coming into AEW, turned out to be Christian. Some people were upset because they expected it to be God knows whom.
Yeah. No, that was a really solid scene, man.
Mm-hmm.
Really solid, and it was another scene just like the opening. With this, I was like, man, I'm excited to see that match now. They did a good job.
My fucking shins hurt just thinking about that bump, bro. All I can see is those hematomas on his fucking shins when he fucking.
You would have barely got to the second rope had you tried that.
Oh, that's why I don't do the Arabian moonsault to the outside anymore. I just stopped doing it.
You just do the Arabian axe handle smash.
Yeah. Well, I'll do the fucking camel clutch a lot better than Miro did it again.
What's the highest high spot you've ever done? You ever jumped off the top?
I've done the flare bump. I do the flare bump off the top. You know,
you ever done offense off the top?
No, I do just second rope splash, but I don't. You know, why the fuck? No one wants to see me fly. I'm not acrobatic, and I'm not.
2021. You have to.
Off the top. I've been off the ladder to fucking get hangmaned on the fucking top rope.
So you're going to head down to the Seidel dojo, and Sylvia's going to go over some moons.
Yeah, I want to teach you a
I would like to
splash or something.
I would like to moonsault. That's one thing I really would like to do because I can do it into a pool. I'm probably about.
Then you can do it in real life for sure. You can do it in a ring if you can do it.
44 years old. I'm going to fucking start doing moonsaults, bro.
Mm-hmm. Look at Terry Funk.
Yeah, dude, 2021. Look at Brian Cage, bro. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Once they see Hamin do a moonsault in a match, it's not gonna it's fucked for the rest of the show.
Number 1 ranked Freshly Squeezed, set up to take being Orange Cassidy, taking on number 2 ranked Pac with Penta El Zero Miro and Rey Fenix as the AEW World Championship Eliminator match. I guess they call these number 1 contenders Eliminator matches, so I have to get used to that. The winner faces AEW champion Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing. Orange removes his sunglasses, places them on Pac's face before Pac destroys the shades, and they get off to going.
Ben Hamoon is good.
Ben Hamoon.
One time I ran off the apron and fucking did a dive with my arms out and screened 9/11 at fucking 5 guys in the shitty 6 caught me. I got about 3 inches off the apron, big vertical. So, but
hell yeah, use your skateboard next time. You'll get higher.
I probably can ollie higher than I can fucking.
So we finished this match, kind of a little bit of a schmolish here as Pac sends Omega in the ropes, stops him in his tracks. I'm sorry, Pac sent Orange in the ropes. I'm getting mixed up.
I think it was on that show that I did it, actually, too, if I remember correctly, in the same spot and screamed 9/11 and jumped on him.
It's so awful to laugh at that, but that is very funny. Go ahead, Matty. Get us back on the rails.
Call this show. Pac sends Orange into the ropes, stops him in his tracks, thrust kick, follows up with a Liger bomb for near ball. Now he's being checked on by Aubrey Edwards, and while this is going on, Don Callis grabs a mic, says he wanted a winner because Kenny Omega is a busy man, distracts Pac and Aubrey Edwards, and this allows Omega to blindside Pac with the heavyweight title, leaving both men out for ref Aubrey Edwards to count to 10.
To pin him and become the new champ.
We've got 2 losers here, says Kenny Omega. Shivani comes out on the ramp and announces that Tony Khan, his best friend and business partner of Impact Wrestling, announced that at Impact's AEW's Double or Nothing, May 3rd.
We don't say Impact around here, no.
Kenny Omega will face Pac and Omega in a 3-way match, a triple threat. What did you think of this match up until the end, Silvio?
It wasn't bad. I finally figured out what I would do with Orange Cassidy after all these months. I say it every week. How would I book this guy? I finally figured out watching that match. I would just have Orange Cassidy do his gimmick like Hamin's described many times, and I just have him be this huge underdog that nobody expects to win. He doesn't get a whole lot of high-profile wins, but one day he happens to win the big one, and everyone's happy. He has a short reign, a la like a Rey Mysterio type of title reign. And then we have him back to be an entertaining Orange Cassidy.
Not clean, though. He shouldn't come out as a competitor and win clean. Who he wins it off of should have heat, should look at him as a joke, and that person should have heat with somebody else.
It's circumstances.
Action spot, and he fucking goes over. This is booked as a clean, straight-up match against a guy who's a fucking shooter, high flyer, jacked fucking psychopath versus our comedy spot guy who should be Where's Waldo, and we see him once a show for 30 seconds and it means way more. This match was supposed to go 20 minutes to a draw, bro. That's what this was booked to be. Then Pac kicks him in the face dangerously, knocks him out half. He feeds in for the fucking power bomb, then gets fully knocked.
Power bomb was brutal.
Stevie went back and watched it this morning. It was the kick first that fucking really got him. Same as Goldberg on Brett. And fucking Then he's rolled out. They're not calling the X because they don't give a fuck. They're like, shit, we're only 12 minutes in. We got 8 more minutes to pull. So they try and give him time to get his shit back together. I thought his neck was broken. off that power bomb. And then we send Omega and him out early to fucking do it, but they still had to shave about 5 minutes off of this, much like Carrillo and Sheamus this week on their fucking big botch. Not working safe. The heat's on Pac on that, and it's on Orange not protecting himself. But really, it's on the booking. This match shouldn't even be on the fucking card, bro. And if it is, Pac should beat him straight up in 90 seconds with incredible offense. To put them 50-50 with a comedy guy who would have pulled 20 minutes to a draw with Pac, what does that do for him? That brings him way down. Orange Cassidy is not a wrestler. He's a personality. Can he wrestle? Yeah. But that's not his spot on the show. And they still don't understand that.
I will say this. I am happier that I love to watch Omega and Pac work together. They had great matches in the past, but I'm happier that this is now a 3-way. And here's why. The Orange Cassidy fans now get what they want and their guys in the main event, but we still have Pac in it who has chemistry with Kenny Omega, and it's a new matchup as opposed to Kenny versus Pac again or Kenny versus Orange, where we can almost assuredly predict the outcome of that match. I think if they were going to use the players involved, the 3-way wasn't a bad idea to get there.
I'm with you, but I just think he should have gone over strong on him. If we have to have the match 90 seconds, cut the promo as a heel to bury him, and then get serious about calling out Omega with all of his little clown bullshit. Well, the fucking time for games is over. You see what I do to clowns, and I'll fucking kick your ass too, Krusty. Like, there was nothing there that raised the acumen of any of these guys. And then them coming out there was all stretch it, fill it, bro.
I mean, were you present when Rob Van Dam beat John Cena at One Night Stand?
Yeah, I was there. Mm-hmm.
Great moment, right?
Phenomenal.
So here's what I do with Orange. I'd have him being the guy that you describe. He wins the Casino Battle Royal, and not this one, but upcoming in the future, he wins a Casino Battle Royal. He gets this shot. We milk the shit out of him having the shot, and very little competitive wrestling in between him getting the shot and the match. We do a similar finish a la Rob Van Dam and Cena, where it was clean, but it wasn't clean because we had Edge come in and do the fucking spear gimmick. Orange wins the big one. Everyone's happy, but we're still protecting all parties involved. That's how I push it.
Okay. I just don't think that's his spot. I don't think that's where his money is. And I think
Tony Khan thinks that's his spot.
Oh,
that's going to be his spot.
Oh, no, he's in love with him. He wants to be boyfriends.
When you're a clown, nobody takes you seriously. The Young Bucks and the Good Brothers.
Let me tell you this: who was our DCW clown? Like the main one that we got over.
I assume you're referencing the Big Cat.
No, that's our Goldberg. Lumpy Magoo, a complete clown. And when we used him the right way, what happened? DCW, as students, we have to sell tickets 5 to get on the show. What happens when you sell 20 tickets? You get in the main event. What happened when we got Lumpy over with these types of scenarios that I'm describing comedy-wise?
People liked it.
What's that?
People liked it. They popped for him. He got more opportunities.
At one time, at the peak of it, Lumpy was selling 120 tickets to the show. None of the rest of the guys could sell tickets to their normals because our fans knew that Lumpy would be in the main event in some way if they bought tickets from him. We didn't fucking push him down people's throats saying this is the guy. We used him circumstantially to his benefit and to shine him the right way, and he became the top guy in the company. Then we can't put him in with singles, so we can put the Grape Drink connection with him to toe the line, and Lumpy just has to come in when it's his time to take a drink of Grape Drink and slam a guy one fucking time. Like nobody wants to see Lumpy get in there and pull 20 minutes hard way. Like nobody wants to see him get his ass kicked that way, but they loved him so much because of the way we used him. it sold fucking tickets and he got over. And it's the exact same formula, but they haven't figured that out yet here.
That's what I want to know, though. Matt, give me the fan perspective here, because I'd love to know how the modern AEW fans look at this. Do they want to see Orange Cassidy having 20-minute matches and it being 50-50 competitive? Is that what those fans want?
Well, I mean, what I was going to say was I think that AEW kind of looks at your version of Lumpy Magoo maybe as their Orange Cassidy, as somebody that they see that they can get behind and push. Now, whether, the philosophy of the booking is, not correct is obviously a conversation for itself. I think a lot of people have been following Orange Cassidy from what I picked up. Like if you go back to his even on the indies, I get, when he was doing this shtick for the last 10 years, that's kind of been his thing where he starts off as a sloth and then eventually you work him up to where he'll be in the ring, moving around wrestling. So from what I had gathered on the early onset of the Orange Cassidy criticism was that this is Orange Cassidy's been doing this for almost a decade. And it's just now it's been brought to the mainstream.
So the fans do like him being in those long matches.
I would say so. Yeah. Most of at least
I don't think the fans know because they haven't seen him used the right way. When he was under the ring and they pulled the ladder out and he was laying on it, perfect. He's never gotten a bigger pop than that. Not the fucking champagne match with Jericho, the finishes, nothing. It's about, I'm into something. Oh shit, Orange Cassidy, dude. That was fucking awesome. That's all you need to set up the game for him every fucking time, bro.
Well, I mean, Goalie points this out. They're trying to push him as a serious contender, and that probably is the issue. If he should be winning matches more by circumstantial or falling into these type of situations versus being maybe as adamantly strong or as
shouldn't even be in the contender title picture.
Right.
Dude, he's a character, bro. He's a character in this, and it's where you insert him in the oh my god moment where people are waiting to be popped. And there's even times where you think that the closet door will open and he'll be standing there and he's not, and someone in the scene should go, like, is he there? They're paranoid. He's in his scene, and do it. And then you start to exit the scene and close the door. And he was behind the other door the whole time, just checking his fucking phone. There's all these little swifts and swerves we can do where he doesn't have the best acting we do is when we say nothing at all. And it could all be done right there, but they're missing it, bro. Big time.
Young Bucks said next week as they're backstage with the Good Brothers that they'll face the new number one contenders, the Varsity Blondes, because the Bucks are fighting champions as well. They also invite John Moxley and Eddie Kingston to a super kick party at Double or Nothing. There was a couple pretty funny lines in here with was it Gallows? How could you beat up the most wholesome Christian group?
Yeah.
That got me.
Yeah, it was good. Did you see that they put that cute little girl who kind of had the bad match selling wise we talked about last week with the Heart Girl? They put her with Varsity Blondes, and it looked
good.
It works. It works.
She kind of dressed like a cheerleader from my memory.
And now she comes in on their entrance. They help her over the top rope. She comes in, does a front roll, does a split, and does a fucking cheerleader thing while they do the Shawn and Diesel pose behind her. It works. It's like when we put Reggie with Theta Lambda Psi.
Nice. I like this promo. I thought it was shot kind of like the old Jim Crockett promos. I don't know if you've watched those, Maddie, but it reminded me of the post-match Jim Crockett Promotions promos with the bloody heels and stuff. So I like that little homage. I think the Jacksons probably were cognizant of that. The only kind of odd thing about the situation was when and how did the Varsity Blondes become number one contenders?
I told you.
I think I've only seen them lose on TV.
Well, see, that's the inconsistencies here. With the tag team division, you can win on Dark and Elevation, and those wins matter. But in the heavyweight division, you can be QT Marshall or you can be whoever it is and go 10, 12 wins, but not even be ranked. Like I said, we need to have some sort of, is there a championship committee who oversees and decides? It's very confusing.
It's just them going back and forth between what they wanted to start this shit as and going against the peanut gallery going, I thought wins and losses mattered. Oh shit, we better do something around wins and losses. It's not like it's an ongoing thing. It's them getting caught with their pants down trying to fucking put a Band-Aid on a broken leg when you don't book fed off of wins and losses. You don't, because a loss for one guy can mean way more than a dozen wins do in the id of his character that gets the audience involved in them.
Well, that was kind of my point though last week as well. Is it seems like they put the emphasis. The rankings matter for the tag teams. If you win on a show, that matters. What doesn't matter what show, but for all the other divisions, it doesn't seem to matter. It seems that they pick. If you win on, you have to be, participating on Dynamite and winning on Dynamite. It seems to actually get the.
Well, it's probably based on who's paid reparations too.
Oh boy.
Because I think it was just 2 weeks ago that they had that 4-way tag team match. And if I recall, they said the Varsity Blondes were 4th ranked during that match. They were number 4. The Varsity Blondes lost that match. SCU won it to challenge the Young Bucks like we saw last night. So somewhere in between that, of them being the number 4 ranked and losing the match on Dynamite, the next I hear from them, they're number 1.
Silvio, you got to watch the ticker at the bottom. It tells you. I mean, that's it. You got to watch that scrolling ticker that goes by once a show that tells you all the results. Alex Marvez is now backstage as well with Hangman Adam Page. Just made me laugh, this promo. Page said he had a huge target on his back. It took 3 guys for Brian Cage to beat him. So he says, why don't you leave Taz and the pretty boy Ricky Starks, meet me one-on-one in the ring and earn your spot? And Brian Cage, and if I lose, I can accept it. But for you, it's double or nothing. And then Silver immediately goes, hey, that's the name of the show. Is that why you said that? I don't know. That made me laugh just because I thought he played that stupid character really well.
Sure.
So it was a good little promo. And this is setting up, I guess, maybe Brian Cage versus Hangman now is the number 1 contender. We haven't gotten real outline of it, but that seems to be the way they're pushing.
Yeah, the match is going to happen at the pay-per-view. We just don't know what the stakes are.
Right.
I popped at that line too. I still think they should move Hangman away and let him be the lone cowboy again.
Yeah.
Either that or he has to turn and kind of fill a similar role to Brody of leading the Dark Order back to greatness. I don't think Hangman belongs in the comedy realm, but I'm sure the match with him and Brian Cage will be dope.
So yeah, that he's got Julian's glass third full and he's just fucking swishing it around. And I don't really care for the fact that these guys are standing around him in a horseshoe pattern. It seemed very, I don't know, homoerotic. Like, what's he going to say next? Ooh, like they're his groupies. What I did pop for and what also kind of, I'm going, we're missing it here, is Colt Cabana in the back. Colt Cabana's very into the scene and he's reacting. I'm not even watching and listening to what Hangman is saying, or these guys like batting eyes at him, which is we're going to get you back on top, Hangman. I'm going, the guy who should be featured, who's paid his dues, who can help elevate all of these guys, is the guy who's sitting in the very back of the scene doing as much reaction without pulling focus as he can. And Cabana looked more jacked than I've ever seen him. And he is the one to take Brody's place. Right. He is the one to set up the games that those guys can respond to and fucking have them organized. Colt is so quick improv-wise based on what he's done in Chicago and then being on the road for 20 years. To have him as the guy farthest in the back is fucking absolutely a waste of one of your top properties. And Colt Cabana needs to, if there's a feud, it's Colt Cabana coming down to kick fucking Adam Page's ass, right? Like Cabana Page would be an interesting little inner fight in there for those guys feeling one way about him and Cabana cracking whip on him.
Yep.
And don't get any ideas, Matt, like your great-great-grandfather.
The Dark Order itself, though, I was thinking, if you play that in with a Colt Cabana, if you turn him heel, he's in the middle of a feud, he could make the argument, I own pro wrestling tees. I'm taking away your shirts. I'm taking away this. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with him being the featured Dark Order leader. Colt was
going to make it work possibly better than Brody would have, to be honest with you.
Good.
And I'm not trying to downplay Brody by any means, but that's how good Colt is at bringing things to life. But still, not getting the opportunity after all these years, you know what I mean? Never really having the spotlight on him to do that, and those guys need his help.
MJF wearing a crown now in the ring for the Pinnacle's coronation. Is joined by Tully Blanchard, Sean Spears, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, and Wardlow as they come out to celebrate that victory they had at Blood and Guts. bow to the pinnacle, bow to the biggest draws in professional wrestling, and you have us to thank for that, said MJF as he started. So the Inner Circle are down to 2 men, one because he stabbed me, and the other, I'm sorry, 3 men, one because he stabbed me, and the other because he tripped and took a fall. So why would they want a rematch? Would you people like to see the rematch? Gets, of course, the crowd to say yes, and then says no. Puts over the fact that Sean Spears is a Canadian god. Tully Blanchard takes the mic, and far from me to be to say that anybody should not have any mic time, or that they should not, that they're not legends of the business. But this promo was hard to sit through from Tully Blanchard. He stumbled a lot, I felt. And I get it. He was just probably being very raw and off the cuff. So, I mean, I get the rawness, feelings, but it just kind of felt like it was jumping around too much in the promo. There wasn't a lot of focus itself. But he does end up by giving everybody some Rolex watches and says that when you're at the top of the world, you're looking down at everybody else. Airhorn interrupts the ceremony. Sammy Guevara, Ortiz, and Jake Hager come out, and we get a Stone Cold Steve Austin parody here via a golf cart as Chris Jericho pops up out of a trailer that the golf cart was towing.
They blew it too because MJF's going, Jericho's not here. Jericho's not here. But 2 seconds before that, Jericho's head comes up in that long shot that they have right through him. Man, I knew that drove you nuts.
That pissed me off. It pissed me off that that Sammy Guevara, you could see he was holding something. So you were like, oh, he's about to spray something with somebody. Like, you couldn't even have that covered, make it look like he was holding a wheel or something. I don't know. It was. And
then to do this is a nostalgia throwback, and it's a fucking, toned down version of what's in people's mind with Austin or Angle with the true like fire hose power. And these guys are selling like they're getting fucking drilled with a fire hose level, and it's 1/5 of that. Like,
did you guys notice the little bit of the bubbly sign on the truck thing?
Yeah. But are we supposed to believe that he's really spraying them with champagne, where we know they were really spraying them with beer? You can see the foam and you can see all that shit. Like, they just miss, bro. They miss with things like this. And they why you would spend money on Wild Thing and fucking Where Is My Mind, and then think this is going to get over, and it just looks like the guys in the ring look stupid for selling for this squirt gun level. He looks like he's playing the fucking shoot the clown in the mouth game at the fucking Darien Lake or Six Flags. You're like, what the fuck, bro? It was amateur. Jericho looked good with the fucking thing on, but here's the other problem. You're never going to get a match against us again. There's no way. The answer's no. Spray him with some fucking water. Okay, you want your match? Well, oh, dude, like, that is little kids playing wrestling in the backyard. No man would fucking switch on a dime after you sprayed him with a hose and go, oh, now it's on. But here's the stipulation to set up the match we did. Oh, so predicated and plotty. And this was probably the worst segment on the show.
I don't mean to go back to like WWE prior segments on them doing things, but I think it would have maybe been a little bit better instead of like them, I don't know, covering them with champagne. And I know that the Daily's place is open center, so maybe would have been a little bit harder to rig this. But you should have had like sheep guts fell out from the sky or something and covered them, and like sheep guts, something disgusting.
Like the fucking Spirit Squad shit when they dump shit all over them.
Right.
At least that would have been a bigger.
You guys got the blood. You had the glory. Now here's the gut. Did you have guts? Yeah. Cover them with guts or something. I don't know.
And who could have fucking provided the guts?
I don't know. Tony Khan?
Butcher and Blade.
Oh, Butcher and Blade. There you go. Sorry.
But they're heels. I can make pro wrestling logic out of it with MJF being the character that he is, getting embarrassed at his birthday party. So then he accepts the fight. I could see the logic behind that. The segment clearly was a throwback to the Austin beer hose incident, and then later the Kurt Angle milk hose incident. What I found most interesting was the semantics involved. I wrote down a quote or two. So earlier in the night, after the Inner Circle promo where Sammy threatens death, Shivani says Jericho, quote, dislocated his elbow after that tumble that he took. And in this promo, MJF says something like they took a little fall.
Yeah.
So they were choosing their words very carefully due to probably the visual and some of the critiques of the padding incident last week. But the interesting question of this was Jericho. I didn't expect him to be back so quick. Like the last time he got beat up and he came back 2 weeks later, and we were like, that was quick. Well, this was 1 week. So my brain is going to, was that done because they didn't think the bump was sufficient enough? And then I'm thinking about the match, and I said it on last week's show that Jericho seemed to step off. So it's possible that he had whatever that injury was legit, which explains why he didn't do a whole lot in the blood and guts other than that bump. And now he has the arm thing on. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like playing up the arm thing, but a week coming back is a terrible fucking move, bro. Like, if anything, they should be selling. They couldn't even replay the lowlights of that, like to re-show it. So they're screwed there on any B-roll. They gave away that he was there from the camera shot, not protecting it again, which was fucking just amateur as fuck. Dude, the production team are the biggest heels in all of AEW. They just miss and miss and miss. That is so much that Darby goes and shoots his own shit. I wouldn't trust him either.
What about Jericho being injured, explaining why he did little in blood and guts? And
yeah, that's fine, and he really doesn't have to, you know. And I don't know. I don't think he's had surgery on the arm. I think the cast was a look, you know, a convincing look to put that over.
Because I've heard injury rumors being thrown about, but I have not yet to verify them.
I haven't, so I don't know. Maybe you're 100% right on that, and if so, it's a smart way to do it. But to bring him back this week was as bad as on WWE. Charlotte Flair, you hit the ref in the nuts and cost a year out of here, $100,000 and suspended. 6 days later on the follow-up show, she's back. She paid the fine and she's back on well, there is no fucking suspension then, is there? There is no suspension of my disbelief that there's a real punishment or there's a real injury. These shotgun things, and, you know, AEW does it, I would say, worse than anybody, but WWE does the same fucking thing. They set us all back 30 years.
And now the Inner Circle has to win this Stadium Stampede match.
This should have been a year build. Cornette talked about it, you know, like the fact that we formed the Pinnacle and 5 weeks later we're having War Games, which is an end of year payoff after a fucking massive feud, shows that Booker of the Year is not with it, bro.
And then 2 weeks later, we have to have the revenge match where the babyfaces get back over.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other one I was thinking of, Mike Roche. The other I was thinking Austin crushes Triple H in a car. Next week, Triple H is fine. And also, you know, Rikishi hit Stone Cold Steve Austin with a car. Next week, he showed up on
When he did it for The Rock.
For The Rock. Earlier in the day, Jim Ross had a sit-down interview with Dr. Britt Baker on the show, and about her upcoming championship opportunity against Hikaru Shida. I like the fact that Britt Baker really put over in this promo that 1 year ago at the same pay-per-view, that was when Hikaru Shida left her, you know, bloody, and she had to be out for 5-6 months. So I do like the fact that they recalled it. She said it's almost poetic that the monster Shida created is going to dethrone her, as that was what set Britt Baker down this path she's been on. She, again, another wrestler saying, unless she's going to kill me, another reference to being killed. If you haven't noticed, I'm pretty hard to kill, and I'm the face in the Pulsar division. I guarantee I will win at Double or Nothing DMD. So Brumo was good. I just don't like that line of killing. You have to kill us. Like, what's up with all the?
You know, I hate it from them too. But you know, if I was there and I got tired of it, what I would do is put it on Abaddon, and every week I would have her killed, and she fucking comes back from the fucking dead. Undertaker fucking sits out. Even if we got to do stunts where it's blatant that we're throwing her off of a 12-story building and it's a dummy doll, and then fucking we cut to on the ground and she, what's the fucking Drew Barrymore thing, the Santa Clarita Diet, right, where she kind of the zombies and can't die, then I can't be killed, you know, like let's but this is wrestling 101 training. You don't say I'm gonna kill you because you can't deliver on it. You can't say you'll have to kill me in there, because they're not going to kill you in there. It's just kids who have gotten too much too fast. Is she great? Is she got a good look? Hair looked pretty. Promo was good. Yeah. But the words you're saying show to me we're still operating at 4th or 5th grade.
I liked it. I'm a big fan of everything she's done in the last year. I thought it was a great promo. The sit down style with JR was really cool too. I don't like all the death references, but I didn't mind the Brit one because she said, I'm hard to kill, as opposed to I'm going to kill you. Like Sammy legit threatened murder earlier in the night.
Right.
So the Brit one didn't really faze me too much. I'm looking forward to seeing this match now.
After that, we had Thunder Rosa taking on Jasmine Allure. Thunder Rosa made quick, usage of Jasmine Allure. It was a quick match. Used the shoulder breaker, fire thunder driver, and beat.
Rosa's awesome. Jenna sends her love as well. She couldn't make it to the pod today. Sorry, folks.
All good.
But she wanted to send warm wishes to you guys and Thunder Rosa, who's been absolutely killing it. Rosa did her job, and she did it very well. Here's my complaint again, though. Where we gave the women 2 minutes on a 2-hour show. Do that squash with Thunder all day, but give me something else. Give me Statlander versus whomever, or, you got other women there. Like, I really want to see them get away from this. All right, ladies, you only get one segment per show, no matter what it is. It's going to be a 20-minute main event, or it's going to be a 2-minute enhancement match. That just still sits weird with me. I don't know if I'm alone there or not, but
Ben, do you already thought on the match?
I want to see Statlander get built and get over. The girl that she faced, good on her getting TV time, but she's shimmer shine indie level.
I believe she's a student of Thunder Rosa's.
There you go. I mean, like, why? What does it say on the wall? All elite wrestling, and
but you still can have enhancement people to beat.
We're not when they can't get on the right side for a shoulder breaker, and I have to protect you. And now you're making me look amateur when I know how to do this shit. And now I have to protect you to even try and save this match in 2 minutes because you're so scared. There's 50 girls that, dude, why is she facing that girl who's a student when you could have Lady Frost, you could have fucking Holodead, you could have Genocide, you could have.
I don't want them getting beat in 2 minutes.
No, but
not for that spot.
Because we have to go 2 minutes because this girl can't go longer than that.
I think it's because they booked Thunder Rosa to go 2 minutes. And
we have Nightmare Factory people. We have Nightmare Factory people who are paying $4,500 to train for 3 months who are getting spots on TV. Let's be honest about what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with Ben here. You got Jasmine Allure here, who's doing this match, but Nyla Rose hasn't been seen on TV in months. Like, there's so many opportunities they're not using to advance and highlight their own.
Yeah, you got Blue Pants. Blue Pants is sitting right down there being a fangirl, and she's 10 times the worker that this girl is.
But you can have both. We could have had this match, and then Nyla could have had a match with Statlander or whomever else.
We could have had Genocide versus Statlander in a fucking 12 minutes. Yeah, competitive back and forth, and to get over. But I'm saying even the enhancement talent we have, it's a work. It's a work for them to promote their schools to say, come train with me for 3 months and I can get you on AEW TV. Well, what's your TV worth when you're doing that? And then they're screwing up in 2 minutes. That's a problem. That's what they're doing to pimp out their own fucking show, bro, instead of doing the integrity of what's best for their audience and the overall experience.
I got an interesting take for you on that. I mean, you mentioned the shoulder breaker spot. So I got the woman's perspective on it. I was like, that adjustment seemed a little odd to me. From the female perspective, what I was told was the girl that was taking the move, her top got hooked or something like that. And Thunder Rosa was adjusting said girl's gear so as not to have a wardrobe malfunction. I found that interesting from the women's perspective, that I didn't see that. I saw what you saw, like, something was a little screwy there. So
I say get video like that if you want to fucking get ratings and get over on the internet. Because here's one thing I put over on Next Level Podcast, and it'll sound half funny, but it's interesting to me because we fight for speaking out in Me Too and in New York State, along with many others. Women can go topless on the beach. How many of them do it? Next is zero. So they claim they want the empowerment, but they don't want to fucking get them titties out.
That's the rule in New York. You can be topless on the beach.
Sure. I think on the fucking streets, like in summertime, you could walk around. You could do it in February. I wouldn't suggest it. But on NXT,
we beaches are the shits. No wonder nobody's doing it.
You're gonna do it in February. I need to come over.
We had Raquel Gimmick and with the championship, Martinez and both these girls are a more masculine build, bigger and jacked like Jenna. But the one has got smaller gimmicks than me, definitely smaller gimmicks than fucking Big E, who walks around without his shirt on constantly. What if she was the first? She doesn't even really need to wear a top at all. What if she was one of the first ones to wrestle completely topless? And it looks just like pretty much the same as fucking Braun Strowman's did at the end of the day.
Who?
They want the fucking power. Whoever the NXT champ is, bro. She didn't need to wear it.
That is an insane comment to make.
I thought you were talking about Jade Cargill.
I said, get them titties out, bro. Like, you want the fucking empowerment and all that, then why are you even wearing a top if it doesn't matter if you have a wardrobe malfunction? What's the difference between her nipples and mine?
A lot.
I don't know.
A lot of different.
Why? Well, they want to break down the confines. Let's break it down.
Well, for me personally, I would rather see hers than yours. And I have seen yours before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're nice.
There needs to be a new t-shirt you put out, prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hamin. Get them titties out.
The confines of societal norms. Doesn't matter. Like,
they want, dude, this is the SJW. Women can do what they want to do.
Does it matter in the grand scheme of human existence? Absolutely not. There was a time when everyone walked around naked or half naked. But societal norms today in all cultures, it would be odd for a female athlete of any kind to not have a shirt on.
You're pretty sexist and misogynist and possibly racist to have to keep covering women up, Silvio. I think that's your shortcomings and probably your white guilt as well.
I have none of that. I do have some shortcomings.
I don't know. From what you don't want these women to be topless. You are trying to hold them down. That is Quaker Mennonite mentality, and I would even say possibly not being in touch with your Muslim side, and you may be Islamophobic against yourself and trying to and keep women under wraps, man. I think both you guys have learned a lot about yourselves today.
Hey, if they want to be topless, that's cool. Fuck it. When I go to Italy, man, the beach I go to right down the street from my little apartment there, half of the women are topless. When I'm in the UK, they have a daily periodical, I believe, called The Sun, where page 3.
And why do you have so much problem with the NXT Women's Champion being top?
Page 3 is always a topless model. So, like in Europe, the culture is a bit different to that kind of thing. Because America's got to stick up its ass, man. That's right. We've had to stick up our ass for fucking 200, 400 years.
America's okay with violence, but we don't like nudity.
I lost my virginity to a girl named America.
Oh, did you?
Hey,
mm-hmm.
She was the captain that night.
You must have really gotten fucked.
Never been right since.
Earlier in the day, Tony Schiavone sat down with that bitch. Schiavone asked Jade who was going to handle her business, as they mentioned that somebody else, Brian Cartel, Matt Cart, I forget what his name is, the guy who works with Zack Ryder and Matt Cardona. He came out, who was the former MJF lawyer. Apparently, he made the offer on Elevation to handle her business. She says, I'll listen to the offers, but I handle my own business because I'm that bitch. I'm not going to comment because I've learned a lot about myself today. I don't know.
This is so bad. Like, I like this guy from Impact. I think he's trying to help. Bro, you don't call a woman that looks fucking like her that bitch. You don't make her ghetto. She is a superior human being, a blue chip property, somebody who should be like looking like an NFL draftee who's ready to be the next LeBron, big money paydays. That's what they're thinking about. Their marketing, their sports drink, their fucking affiliations. Instead, we're getting some fucking world star. I'm that bitch. This is another girl that I'm going to have to reach out to with some free creative and being like, you are undervaluing yourself to the nth degree. And she can't keep her hands off Twitter, where she said, a lot of people are hot because I haven't been trained hardly at all. And I've had 4 matches on TV and killed it every time. Woo! You are leaving yourself wide open as a fucking target, because if you fuck up one time, that tweet is going to get trounced on your fucking head, left, right, and center. You hurt somebody, you hurt yourself, you botch a spot, you just fucked yourself 10 ways to Sunday with that kind of stuff. Someone needs to protect these kids from just to even teach them about the business, and bragging about not being trained but being on TV. There's a lot of people who now on that roster look at her a completely different way. And if that doesn't get checked, you're dealing with Frankenstein's monster down the road, bro.
Silvio Cujo brings up a good point here. He says, "I don't get the I don't need a manager, but I'm looking for a manager thing." I'm with him there. It's confusing.
It was on Being the Elite.
No, that was not on Being the Elite. I watched Being the Elite.
No, sorry, Elevation.
Yeah, it was a throwback.
Gotcha.
Which I was going to put that over that they at least played something from the back shows.
Well, I'm just saying in general from the beginning, this whole start. I guess if you're saying it started on Elevation, it's just confusing. The whole it's dumb. It's a dumb storyline. I don't need a manager, but I'm looking for a manager. Like,
and how these women want nonstop respect, right? Or this is the women's evolution. Now they're calling themselves bitches. Now they're standing on the hoods of cars trying to show that pussy, to show that fucking this is what it's all about again.
Who was doing this?
Eva Marie. She's standing on the hood of a 2021 Mustang with her
She showed her vagina?
Pretty close. The skirt's not that far. I mean, after that, what else is there? Then the bell rings. She's going to fucking impress me.
I feel like I would have heard about that by now.
I mean, they won't get the titties out. We might as well go for the titties.
And Matt, who have you and Cujo ever beaten to besmirch Jade Cargill's angle?
Exactly.
I didn't say anything. I could talk about her storyline. It has nothing to do with wrestling. I didn't talk about her 4 matches. That was Ben's job.
I think she is that bitch.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Lizzo made it up, I think. Ask her.
And Sasha Banks was saying it too. So now girls are supposed to be empowered. Don't ever call a woman a bitch. I mean, are we that close to like, I'm that cunt? Like, are we going to fucking get there? It's like,
maybe.
Okay.
In Europe, that word's in UK that's thrown around more frequently. So I could see an English female.
You won't get any argument from me.
I think it's kind of like the thing, like if like your brother. I remember I had 2 cousins who were overweight, a male and female, when I was a kid. And one time a kid called her brother fat. And I remember her standing up and saying, "Nobody calls my brother fat but me." So I think that bitch might be something similar. Like, you can't call me that. It
doesn't play that way. As soon as you start fucking head nodding and calling yourself that bitch, you're nothing more than fucking Sweetie and fucking Cardi B and these fucking stripper cunts who get fucking famous for no reason. When the reality is, this girl is a fucking one of a kind find. She should absolutely blue chip, be molded. The money's sitting right there. And when you do these little fucking things like that, it is absolute trash. You just make her into trailer trash level, bro. Backyarder shit.
Backyard. Holy cow. What do you think of that, Cujo?
I'm not good.
Yeah, flick that bean, yeah. So horny, yeah. My clit's so big.
Anyway, let's move on to the end.
Remember when Randy Marsh did Dick Magic?
That's right.
One of my favorite.
Main event time. TNT champion Darby Allin with Sting taking on the best man. I don't know why they're still calling him the best man, but he is a good man, Miro. This was a very intense match. It took a while to get started as Miro assaulted him early on, and the referee, Paul Turner, refused to ring the bell, even though Miro was yelling. I was starting to get a little annoyed. That's good. I guess it was getting heat, and I was getting annoyed. I was like, will you ring the fucking bell? So Miro clotheslined Darby to start as over the guardrail. He flung him around, and the match eventually did get started. We saw Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky out in the audience laughing. There was a couple of great spots in here, as you mentioned. I liked that spot where Darby Allin chucked himself out of the ring and
just bounced off Miro.
Yeah,
and good on Miro to do that spot with him, man. Like that, that's the guy you want to, be there, to be the brick shit house to like, all right, you got to stop my momentum and whatnot. So you want to talk about trust fall? Holy shit!
Yeah, I really liked it, and it was a little bit more unique versus the whole head first or feet first. He just chucked himself. I liked it. But these guys went back and forth. I think we kind of knew what was going on. I mean, obviously we thought who was going to win did. New TNT champion Miro. As Miro locked on the game over submission, and referee Turner stopped the match as Darby fell out. My only complaint here, and I get that they're trying to build this, relationship with the Darby and the Sting. When Darby asked Sting for a fist bump, I just thought
in the middle of the match, that was
cheesy.
fucking lame. Well, you're getting your fucking ass kicked. You're not going to stop and ask for a power up fucking punch that way. That was lame as fuck in this, dude.
Cheesy.
I liked it.
No,
really? I thought it was all I could think of was Eric Cartman going, fist bump, bro, fist bump.
I thought it was Darby building a moment. And I mean, I think had they done that entire moment without bumping fists, you'd be on here putting it over. They could have maybe done without the fist bump part, but I love the slowing down to get that moment of Darby's face and Sting's face, and Darby's look telling Sting, I'm fucked. And Sting telling him back, I know you're fucked. As you always say, show, don't tell.
Sure.
They showed me what they were going through right there.
But when they did that, it looked like Darby marking out for Sting in the middle of his match while he's getting his fucking ass handed to him, bro. Now, don't just stop beating me for a second while I fucking put over Stinger's fucking shit.
I wasn't even thinking that, Ben. It was more like, oh, please help me. Like that's what it felt like. It came off like I need you to give me your approval, Sting. Please show me the way. And like to me, they still haven't built that relationship enough to where, as a viewer, I care about that, or I empathize, or I'm like, yeah, the bond is so strong and real. They haven't really done anything.
That was the moment that showed us that bond, Matthew, right there.
That was bad.
I thought it was cheesy. I thought it was cheesy.
It was fucking JoJo as hell. One thing I was interested in still, because and Rip would tell us this, because the right business is Miro going over. Look great. He's on B12. He's got the fucking gear. He's got the tan. He looks like a fucking murderer. Absolutely. After all this bullshit, the best man, that should be gone. Get rid of that. Get rid of the video game bullshit. This guy is the fucking legitness. Now let's have him just be a mauler. But when Rip would say, oh, the other guy's going over, and what should you take? How much of the match?
In theory, you should take more of the match if you're losing the match.
And especially if it's a big ass dude versus a little ass dude like that, it should be 90-10 really. So this match was 90-10 fucking Miro. And Darby's just on the cell getting the paint knocked off him every which way so we can finally see kind of the real expressions on his face and whatnot. I liked all that. But I'm going, fuck, Darby might go over here. He's giving him 90% of this fucking match. He might slip over, even though I think the right business is to have him go over. So he didn't even give Darby enough keep alives, I don't think, to make it believable after he went over strong. But I liked it that way, heels over strong, because that's real heat. And the right business is done, because Darby, yeah, they want him to be the cool little face, but a baby face 90% of the time is always better chasing a title off of a monster heel. So when he fucking overcomes and slays the dragon, it means something, instead of the dragon fucking chasing, this dude that could easily be smoked. So the right business done here is just not infuriating, but like gut turning that the camel clutch, that our finish, the Iron Sheik's finish, this guy can't even hook it in right, bro. And even though he's doing a layback submission or whatever with it now, he's doing fucking S grip. He's not getting it on the chin. He's got it up here, so there's air in it and it slides up. It would make nobody submit. We saw the one botch when he first showed up and did it and missed the guy. That's a gif now. He does it again on this in the finish after working all that heat and all this.
I think it looked brutal in this match.
I thought it looked brutal too. My only point of order on that was, why did Sting let Miro keep the hold on him 5 to 10 seconds after the match and just sat there looking? I was like, why didn't you at least get the
when he's tapping out, there's air in between it and it's up here on the face, not even touching his fucking head. Bro, you hook it under the chin so they can press their chin into it, or you hook it and pull back on it on the side of the face so we can fucking see it. Or put hooks in, like Sheamus is stealing my smile maker right now. Like these are the simple things that after working your ass off, that this is the finish. This is what they're going to remember. I watched that. I go, that's twice he's missed his own finish on the biggest points that he should have fucking nailed it, bro. So why we can't even get a basic camel clutch over is beyond me. And then the whole stage picture as we go, AEW Dynamite, property of fuck off sports, whatever, at the end should be Miro standing over dead Darby Allin. Instead, here comes Archer, that's not over at all. No one gives a fuck about, with Jake Roberts having to pretend to hold him back. Like Archer couldn't fucking blow by Jake Roberts in 2 seconds if he wanted to get to Miro. Like, just the worst stepped on business again.
Didn't Scorpio Sky and Paige come out right before that too?
Oh yeah,
Paige and Sky attacked Sting.
Sting. Yeah.
What I mentioned last week. I think that's what they're setting
But
this up.
Sting kind of gets up on them, and then Dark Order comes in to fucking run them off as well. All of that should never have happened. The fucking moment, the psychology, or goddamn, he killed him feeling is what we need to go home on with the final stage picture. All the rest of that shit never should have happened. And to be honest with you, if you wanted to do the fist bump, Darby rolls out or Miro kicks him out of the fucking ring, get the fuck out of my ring, as he stands there strong by himself. Then we cut to fucking Darby looking up at Sting going, I failed you, I'm sorry. And Stinger fucking putting the fist out and go, I still love you, bro. And fucking bump it. That's where it happens, not fanboying in the middle of a match while you're getting your ass fucking handed to you. These are the things. And now here's the bigger part. That shouldn't even have been the main. That should have happened before the Jericho fucking waterworks shit, because you're spraying the ring down and all that. So we now know that they shot that out of sequence, put it in before the main event, because there's no way they had time to clean all that shit up and make sure the ring and everything at ringside wasn't soaking wet. Absolutely. So we've, again, got a lot of great pieces, not in the right spot on our show format wise.
So yeah, after the match, just to clarify, Ethan Page sky attacked Sting. Dark Order ran after the ring, forced him to retreat. Murder Hawk comes out. He's stopped by Jake the Snake, and we don't go off the air with our TNT champion holding the title. Anyway, go ahead.
I agree with you about the back end stuff. It should have just been Miro and Darby in the scene. We shouldn't have had the run-ins. But I disagree on some points of the match. I thought that match was tremendous. It was brilliantly executed, and the angle was brilliantly executed. I love the fact that Darby sold most of the time.
Sure.
And he even did, I mean, how many times do we see this? He did a defensive pin comeback in 2021, and it got over.
Yes.
And you just said it yourself. I was thinking for a minute he had a chance.
Might slip over.
That's the whole point of Darby Allin, baby, is even though we knew that Russo could and was going to kill him, we're still watching because we're like, no, but Darby might, even though we know this business. That's the fucking beauty of this match. And to protect Darby, which they didn't need to do anyway, they threw him down the flight of steps a week ago, and he still showed up to give him an out as the super baby face. Miro was a killer, but Miro gave him stuff that made sense at the right time, as opposed to bumping all over for him for everything. Miro was smart enough to place it where it needed to be placed. I thought it was great.
Everybody else looks amateur compared to Miro. That guy is just a fucking, next level money maker if booked and billed the right way. The gear looked great, and they worked there. I love this match too, except for the fist bump in the middle. And then we get all the way to these finishes, and they're just sloppy, bro. They're like, maybe it's because clutch is my move.
I think so.
But dude, it's I've never missed one like that, so I don't know how he's missed two. And he's worked with Cena.
I don't think he missed it.
He missed it, bro. He missed it. It's not good. It's not terrible, but it's nowhere near as good as it could be. I'll leave it at that. But to me, it's terrible because I know what it should be.
Camel clutch aficionado being Hamin.
I've put a couple of them on. I got Mondo with it. That's all anybody needs to know.
I've taken one or two.
Better than taking it from Khalil. But yeah, man, the 3 pay-per-view level main events on this show. Is that where they're going forward to give that kind of stuff away to stay over 1 million? I can't disagree that that's not a bad strategy immediately in a short-term strategy to get viewers to stay of big moments that way. A couple things should have been moved around and rebooked to make the structure of the show more sensible.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for another edition of your Light the Fuse AEW podcast review. I'm your host, and the steam of the air is clean. I light up that green. Your boy, MSG. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. Each and every week, I host another podcast. It's a South Park podcast. It's also called That Suck my balls. It's hosted by 3 white guys, so apparently I need to reflect on myself. You can check us out on all podcast outlets. Suck my balls.
That just means you can pass your heat onto them now that you've taken it. You can fucking shift.
Pass my heat on it. So check us out on all podcast outlets. Also check out patreon.com/StevieRay.tv. Tons of content going up there every week. Last night we had on UFC fighter Adrian Yanez, who is from Houston, that's where UFC 262 will be this weekend. So check out that, as well as a litany of other interviews. There's also a free show up there. Seniona was on the road this week, so he did a show with some of his buddies, Chris Dillsworth and Kid USA, who host the wrestling show weekly. So that's up on YouTube if you want to listen to that. And I would, if you'd like to get the raw reaction of Stevie Ray's A&E biography.
I got it on the phone yesterday for about an hour, bro.
He breaks it all down. And we talked about it too, because I was having a conversation, and he was like, I was trying to be nice and trying to be polite to tell, because one of the guys co-hosts was white. So Stevie was trying to break it down so he could understand. And I was like, and I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, oh, is white boy about to get woke? I'm like, I'm sitting there watching the interview.
Stevie crosses all bounds when it comes to WWE to bury him. He don't give a fuck about this, that, or the other. He lets it know, and he was giving me an earful yesterday too, man. And I'm just on the other end of the line agreeing. I'm like, bro, it's your vision. We're here to support, but at the same time, I'm going, Stevie Ray from Harlem, he is going off right now on the phone, bro. It pops the shit out of me, dude. Because that guy is a guy who will not sacrifice his integrity, and I got massive respect for that. You know.
Also, he's I think he just finished up filming Where Is Stevie Ray episode 1. So that should be coming up on Patreon here in the next week.
I also popped because he's going to the NRA and he needs his press credentials. I was like, oh, that's going to be a fucking killer episode. So I'm talking to him about the NRA, thinking it's the National Rifle Association, that he's going to some controversial gun meet, but it's really the National Racing Association.
Oh, really? I thought it was the gun thing too, man. He can sit the NRA.
He's going to motorsports and shit, bro, because he's a gearhead.
This would be great content too. I thought
I was expecting guns and a fucking Big Brother stepping
How
through.
do those two even share the same acronym?
Yeah, it made me fucking laugh. It's because it took me like 10 minutes into our conversation to figure out he's talking about stock cars and shit. Oh shit, Sil. Good ribs all the way around, man. What do you
oil, Bruce Bro coffee at thebrosters.com. Check this out.
Roadcaster Pro. If you're getting into podcasting, there's no better piece of equipment all the way around, man. It's a portable studio for whatever you have. You want to do music, radio, podcasting. It's an unbelievable piece of equipment. Sil, what's up, buddy?
Walk away. You can put a stop to all this. Just walk away.
Anyway, go ahead.
I'm about to walk away. Don't follow me on social media, but you can follow at Genocide000 on all of your social medias and check her out live on NWA Power and NWA Power Surge. If you want some of the finest pro wrestling training that you're going to get in the world today, I still have 2 spaces open at the Side Dojo here in Tampa. 1 junior heavyweight, 1 heavyweight, male or female. You are more than welcome to come and vie for that opportunity. Online classes are booked up probably through the end of the year, so no dice on those. But if you want to come get down in Tampa with the crew, bring it. See what you got.
Last couple.
Stevie Richards just hit me up saying Zelina Vega to return to WWE spotted at Performance Center. He has sent the link. And also he really enjoyed that Cody promo.
I did have that story. I just didn't want to take up too long. But just wrap a couple things up. Monday Locker Room's up on patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. So is the Next Level Podcast, Wednesday Locker Room. And don't forget to join tomorrow live for the Impact Attack with the Vet and Colin Weisel.
Absolutely, you guys. Patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Appreciate everybody who's been supporting us through this month as we get ready to move over to Realm Network, or we got a lot of work to do to move over to Realm Network. A lot of packing up needs to be done. But we're going to pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. It's my man Silvio. It's MSG. It's Hacker Hamin Infidels. We lit it up on a big episode of Light the Fuse. Y'all, we're that bitch.